Black women gives the most shocking and breakdown of Project 25, 2025. I listen. I've heard about this. Project 2025 is not something by Donald Trump's actually endorses, and
Yeah.
the left is abusing this as if it's the worst thing that ever happened to the world. I don't think so.
So if you don't know, Project 2025 is something done by what's called the Heritage Foundation.
Yes.
The Heritage Foundation is an independent think tank
Hmm.
that tries to help advise presidents on their vision for the future of our country.
Exactly.
And whether or not the president decides to take them up on that offer is up to the president in the moment. So, Project 2025 is basically just an advisory and a suggestion, nothing more. Whether or not Trump wants to run on that is up to him. What Trump is running on is actually called Agenda 42. And that is what really matters.
Yeah. I think it's Agenda 47, if I'm not mistaken.
Or Agenda 47.
Hmm.
I knew it was Agenda 40 something.
Yeah.
It might be Agenda 47
Yeah.
because, yeah,
47. Yeah.
40, that would make sense being 47 again,
Yeah. Yeah.
president. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, if you really want to know what Trump wants to implement when he becomes president, look at Agenda 47.
Yeah.
This Project 2025 is nothing more than just a giant red herring.
It is. I'm gonna put Agenda 47 in description in the comment, so you guys can look at it if you're not familiar with it. There's like a video for every single plan that Trump has. So what they talking about with Project 2025 is not Trump's plan. He has not endorsed it. He hasn't accepted it. So it's a fear mongering concept that they're using again to tell you that hey, they're gonna take away our freedom. Not exactly.
But on the flip side, it's not all bad either.
No, I've read part of it. A lot of what they're saying, I agree with. Like they're talking about uh, getting rid of the wokesters, do away with the three-letter agencies, like stuff that we
It's
actually,
common sense.
yeah, stuff we like. Yeah, I mean, these are things you need to like strengthening the family. I'm like, oh, we want
Stuff
that.
we've been saying all along.
I was like, we were just saying that. Like, it's not like Project 25 is so bad. Of course, there's an extreme side to everything, depending on how far you go with it. But when you read into it, you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. This is American as American can be, man. Anyway,
Mhm.
let's take a listen.
And talking about this project 2025, I actually read it and I love it.
I do too.
I love it. It's all about freedom.
It's all about
Yeah. And so he's trying to get rid of the American system of government. And that means getting rid of a government that does anything other than serve him. And that's what Project 2025 is all about.
Yeah.
And that exists everywhere in the world, and it has never existed here before. And so I really think the bottom line here is that Trump and his movement, they are not running against Democrats. They're running against democracy.
Yeah.
They're running against the
Right.
democratic process. They want to radically change
Yeah.
the kind of system that we have, the government that we have.
Yeah.
And
Pause.
we're alive as Americans.
Yes, he does, because the system we have is not the system that is supposed to have.
Mhm.
Number one. Number two, we don't live in a democracy. We live in a constitutional republic.
Fact.
So shut your pie hole.
And they're going in, yeah. Nobody fact checks her.
No.
It's just like,
But you know what? I'm going to, darn it.
Thank you. Let's go.
Citizens in that time, and we're going to be the ones who decide if the American system of government survives or if it's taken over instead by a strongman authoritarian form.
Right. And the left lies. They accuse the other side of what they actually are doing. Okay, I'm convinced that these people, they don't know the meaning or the implication of a dictatorship or totalitarian government or even a republic like we have in America. They don't know that. All they know is that this man that they hate, detest, Trump, is winning and will possibly win the presidency again in the United States. When Trump was in office, please somebody tell me, what act of dictatorship did he perform? Please tell me. The one thing I think that they may be afraid of is what he did was when he started reducing some of the federal regulations, because leftists love big government. So if you reduce the regulations, you reduce some of the agencies, then you're going to reduce their power, because to them, government is God. So that's the only thing I can think of. But they align like they always do. They don't know what they're talking about. They're trying to twist it to accuse the other side of doing exactly what they're doing.
But they were also talking about Project 2025.
Theorizing.
So, as you guys, I don't know if you guys have seen or if you've heard, but a lot of leftist media now are now using, they keep talking about this Project 2025 is the end of the world. You know, this is what conservatives are going to destroy the democracy and things like this with this Project 2025. And not only do they say that, but they've also been pushing this idea of the democracy. You know, CNN pundit O'Sullivan, who is Irish, couldn't quite believe what he was hearing. He says, I've heard a lot of conspiracy theories. He was talking to Anderson Cooper in a segment. He says, I hear a lot of things out on the road, but to hear Americans, people who describe themselves as patriots, say that America is not a democracy, that stopped me in my tracks. Ann Applebaum, she's another CNN pundit, says she's a historian and writer for The Atlantic who often frets about the grave threats to democracy here and abroad, says to Anderson Cooper that this Republican talking point is just more misinformation. You were hearing people say America is not a democracy because they are people around Trump who want them to be saying that, who have planted that narrative.
I told you they're twisting it or they don't know. America is not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic. What is the difference? Democracy means that the majority rules no matter what. A republic gives proportionate representation to the states, the people, so that they can have a rule or a say, regardless of the size of their state or their county or whatever you want to be, whatever entity or polity it is. That's why it's called a republic. We have representative government. Are there in some aspects, maybe in some instances where the majority does rule? Yeah, maybe like your school board, you might, something like that, local politics. But we are a constitutional republic. We are built on democratic principles, but ultimately we are not a straight democracy. This is what they want. They want a straight democracy because they want mob rule no matter what. A straight democracy means that, again, no matter what happens, as long as 51% or more says yay, well then that becomes it. And damn the other 49, as if the other 49 is not significant. These people like to twist. Again, it's very simple. Just take apart what they're saying and then see how it really applies.
And I'll break it down even lower, even to a smaller way to say it.
These ladies did the homework, bro.
So
They know what they're talking about. I can
let
listen
me-
to them all day. Go ahead.
let me put it to you like this.
Mm-hmm.
A democracy is like two sheep and a wolf deciding what's for dinner.
So the guy in the middle doesn't get to pick. He is the dinner.
Exactly.
Oh, that's spot on. That's great. Yeah.
Sorry, no, I said that wrong. It's two wolves and a sheep deciding what's for dinner.
Two wolves and a sheep. So the sheep is those who might not agree with the majority. Yeah. So we know
That's what a democracy is.
two wolves and a sheep deciding what's for dinner. Yeah, and I'm so glad that this is not the case. The fathers, the founding fathers, they knew what they were doing. They knew it's not an impossible. It's not impossibility to take the majority and have them believe one particular thing, and then you can manipulate them that way. And this is why in a constitutional republic, it's not possible to just manipulate and use the majority against the minority in a sense to control. It was there to put a stop to the abuses in this. So these guys had really strong foresights, man. I give them a lot of credit. I realized that why the founding fathers know what they were doing, man. These guys they were ahead of their time, yo.
And that leads into the Second Amendment. You think that the founding fathers didn't account for the advancement of weaponry and how gun technology was going to advance over the years.
Yeah, and they say, "Oh, they weren't supposed to have these mags and everything. They weren't talking about these type of guns." It's like, actually, they did.
Yeah, even back then they
Yeah,
had magazine capacity muskets,
yeah,
and I linked you a Crowder video that actually shows that, but
yeah, yeah.
that's a whole nother topic that we'll get into later. But
Okay.
that's I mean, that's the thing is our founding fathers had the foresight to put these articles in place that say no, these are laws that are granted by our creator that shall not be infringed,
Hmm.
point blank, period.
Exactly. Um,
And they're rules from the people to the government, not from the government to
Give
us.
it to the people. It's not the other way around. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. All right, let's let the ladies go on.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic on which it stands, one nation,
one nation,
under God,
indivisible,
right, with liberty and
Liberty.
justice for all. It's a republic.
Right.
It's right there in our Pledge of Allegiance.
Right
I
there.
mean, it's not that hard.
And
Second that.
in the Pledge of Allegiance, even they acknowledge the divine nature of God
Mm-hmm.
in the creation of the United States. And people want to say that the founding of the United States wasn't based on religion.
Yeah, I mean, the founding fathers had
Come
religion.
on.
They had religious. Yeah, yeah. I mean, they had religious views, but it's one thing you trying to govern the world through religious laws. It's slightly different than. And a part of the way I speak about it, and I've said it before, is like religious laws in and of themselves are not bad. For example, like you go to different countries around the world, Iran and all that, they have their Islamic Sharia laws by which they govern the country. But
Hmm.
if you come to America, a nation mainly built on Christian values, as we refer to Judeo-Christian values, you're saying we cannot have some religious views. Now, it depends how far you go with this. Which laws in the Bible is the problem in the government? Any one of the first four. And I answer the question very easily. Any one of the first four commandments, no government should touch, because that is his duty toward, that is a man's duty toward his God. You
Hmm.
should not have no other God before me. You should not you should not make yourself an idol. You should not take God's name in vain. You should remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Those first four commandments, the government should not touch. The last six must be enforced. It's that simple.
Hmm.
And this is why God had it written on two tables of stone. One is a law towards showing love toward God. You should love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, and all your strength. The last six, love your neighbor as yourself, right? This is loving each other. Governments need to enforce that. It
Hmm.
strengthens the family circle. It will keep the country safe from criminals. It will stop the lies and the thieves and the covetousness. It will stop it. It should be enforced. If it's not enforced, it's a problem. Those Democrats, they don't care about either of them. They reject both the first four and they reject the last six. You speak about the unborn, thou shalt not kill. We want to protect the lives of the unborn. Oh, you can't do that. That's a woman's reproductive right. Who's being reproduced?
Hmm.
Nobody's being reproduced. If anything, this is counterproductive. Like, this is crazy. But again, this is
Interesting fact. At the end of the second trimester, a female fetus has all the eggs she's ever going to produce for the entirety of her life.
love that. Listen to that. Wow. And now I think that's also connected to the illegal migrants issues, because we're not having enough children. Now they're importing people into our country, you know. But anyway, that's another discussion. Let's keep going.
But you know what? Like you mentioned, they want control, and they've twisted everything to say it's the opposite when it's not. You and talking about this project 2025, I actually read it. I didn't read the whole thing, but I read a good portion of it, and I love it.
I do too.
I love it. It's all about freedom.
It's all about freedom. It's a policy paper, if you will,
Right.
which every president, every administration has. It just depends on which policies you want to implement. But this is nothing more than the way to, if you will, I'm going to say envision, or maybe not even envision, but to get us back to what our government is supposed to do and not supposed to do.
And to the people.
Exactly.
Power to the people.
Exactly.
Is what
That's
it
all
talks
it is.
about. I mean, I won't go through Department of Education. It says they want to get rid of it.
Get rid of it.
It has here, when power is exercised, it should empower students, families, not government.
Thank you.
In our pluralistic society, families and students should be free to choose from a diverse set of school options and learning environments. I mean, throughout the whole project, every pillar is about freedom.
Freedom.
These people are lying to you.
Freedom, they're lying. Let's stay on the education for a minute, because we're talking about, let's break it down for our audience. I'm not saying that you don't get it, but I want to break it down. You should be free. First of all, you should be free to choose education for your own children, how you want them to go or be taught, number one. Number two, you should be free to use your money to pay for your children to be educated however way you want to see fit, right? Your money should not be taken from you compulsorily and made to comply every year when you file your taxes, not to mention other taxes in between, where you have to pay for someone else's child or through student loans, pay their loans off. So you can't even afford to choose where you want. And your schools are determined to you, particularly public schools, K through 12, just because of your zip code, while all these same elites can live in other zip codes and still make you pay for their children. Come on, people. Why does that make your boat float? It should make your boat, you should turn it over, flip it over, and start going through these temples and flip like Jesus did with the whips.
We know it's
I love these ladies.
I love these ladies. I can sit at their feet all day. It's like, I don't want to cut them off because they're saying everything I like to hear. Exactly. It shouldn't be that complicated, man. I mean, some of the Republicans' policies that we have, it's just common sense. I say some of them because some of them, we have the rhinos. We know that. So, but a lot of what Republicans are advocating for are things that the average person can say, oh, yeah, that simply makes sense.
Yeah, we're on board with that.
I mean, what's the problem here? So yeah, I love it, man. They're on fire.
the boat is sunk. It is sinking, and it's sunk in most of these communities
Right.
that go along with this crap.
Right.
I mean, but every pillar I read was about freedom. Department of Agriculture. It says American farmers efficiently and safely produce food
Right.
to meet the needs of individuals around the globe. Because of innovation and resilience of the nation's farmers, American agriculture is a model for the world. Farmers are allowed to operate without unnecessary government intervention. American agriculture will continue to flourish. Again,
Exactly.
they want to remove government. They want us to have more freedom, more individuality with Americans.
Exactly.
I mean, the whole thing.
Talk about farming too. Go look up the Denmark. I think it's in Denmark, where the government is mandating that the farmers will have to give up their property because of the cow farts. Really, because of climate change. So these people are going to lose their properties. They are trying to do the same thing in the United States of America. It's coming here, people. We have to wake up and push back. Stop being afraid of these jokers. We pay them. They work for us, and we don't need all of them. They're on holiday today. How many of y'all still have to go to work? I mean, come on. You're paying. How many holidays does Congress get? Do all these government agencies get? When we're paying them, we're working more than 6 months out of our year to pay their salaries, and then they tell us this, basically, with everything that they come out with.
That is so true.
Facts on facts on facts on facts.
These ladies are on fire.
They are cooking with Crisco.
I love it, man. I love it, and they're right though. They're right. They're not lying.
No.
That is crazy.
And the thing is, what most people don't like, all these people about the Green New Deal and all this and that and the other thing. What most people don't realize is about that are pushing this agenda is cows. How can I say this? excrement
Mm-hmm.
is actually nutrient rich for the soil
Yeah, exactly.
and
Yeah, we
is
know that.
needed
Mm-hmm.
to help cultivate
Manure.
new
Hmm.
crops.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
gets mixed in with the soil
Mm-hmm.
to provide nutrients to the soil
Yep.
to grow new crops. And if, properly done,
Mm-hmm.
we have enough farmland in the US that we could end hunger around the world.
Yeah.
Point blank, period.
Yep. Amen. But again, they ignore all of that. It's kind of similar to the sun thing. They're trying to mess with the sun and things like that. It's like, if you mess with the sun, we're gonna have some serious problems, right?
Yeah. Like serious problems. It'll bring on a second ice age.
Yeah,
Like legit.
you will hurt humanity and civilization. This is not a small thing. Oh man, these ladies are awesome, Amy. Yes, they are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they go into HUD. I mean, it talks about how these government assistance programs have not helped these communities, urban communities. It's done more harm than good.
Okay,
They
another
talk about
example,
it.
KJ, with HUD. Again, our taxpayer money is taken from us, used to build whatever they call them, low-income homes or homes for what they call them, unhoused people.
Oh, no.
All of this crap. They can live in hotels. They live in hotels where we may not even be able to afford, right? And they get SNAP money for it and other welfare, if you will. But yet, then they come back and want to control our house. They want to tell us how we can turn our heat and air, or how many stoves or gas stoves or electric stoves can we have or not have. This is the more power we give them, the more they're going to use it against us. Who else they going to use it on?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they specifically say on
So
this HUD
about the HUD thing,
That's so true.
when I was struggling, I was on HUD for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the thing is I had a job and it gave me an opportunity to save up money so
Mm-hmm.
that I could find my own place and get off of HUD. The
Mm-hmm.
problem is people who abuse HUD.
Mm-hmm.
What I think needs to happen is if people go on HUD, they need a time limit to be, you have X amount of time and then you're cut off.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because
but it's supposed to be.
it's supposed to be a temporary help. It's not
Yeah,
supposed to be a permanent solution.
and I feel the same way about welfare. There are some people who really need the help. They need a little bit of assistance to rise, or and go where they need to go. The problem is when you stay on that system forever. You just become
Or you make a
enabled.
living off that
Yeah, you
system
become
because you
enabled.
sit there popping out babies.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Like I think there was somebody I just read about who have a new world's record having 14 babies by different baby daddies.
Yeah,
14 different baby daddies.
yeah. And the more money the baby daddies have, the more money they make.
Oh, she's not getting any money from the baby daddies. It's all
Oh,
government funded.
so okay, I got it. The government now it has replaced all of them. Got it.
Yeah.
Got yourself a new husband.
Yeah, Big Daddy government.
Yeah,
It's like,
that's destroying
wow.
community. That's destroying communities. Yeah, yeah, that's crazy. He pays the bills, but he can't give you no love. Anyway,
portion, they talk about how many of these programs have done nothing but penalize family formation in traditional two-parent marriages.
Absolutely.
It says here, fail to acknowledge that these public benefits too often have led to intergenerational poverty traps, have implicitly penalized family formation in traditional two-parent marriages.
Right.
I see nothing wrong with this. The left has been going on about this Project 2025 like this thing is a herpes.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
it is nothing wrong with this. These are all very good policy initiatives.
Right.
And whether you agree with them or not, most of the pillars here are talking about getting government out of our business.
The bigger the government, the smaller the citizen. The smaller your house, the smaller your schools, the smaller your communities, the
That is
smaller your
true.
stoves are, and refrigerators, the smaller our cars are. These are not the purview of government. I don't care who they think they are. Again, they work for us. People, the power belongs to us. We need more of us to start thinking and acting on this power and get these jokers out.
Girl,
Absolutely.
you preaching, girl.
I was gonna say she go.
She's on fire. Let's go. Let's go, ladies. I love it. I want to hear part of that again. Oh my goodness.
Start thinking and acting on this power and get these jokers out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean,
go.
I encourage you all to take a look. I believe the website is Project.
Yeah, it's not as bad as they want to make it seem. It's really not. I've looked at it. I'm like, yo, this is all good. It kind of parallels Donald Trump's plan in a sense. It not fully, but in parts it does. I'll tell you what, God actually warned us of what government will do. You know, if you go back, and it's like you can tell the Bible is so true, it's so ahead of time. Like in First Samuel chapter 8, look at this. Let me open my version. Okay, so in First Samuel chapter 8, I want to show you something quickly, guys, from the Bible. So Israel began to ask for a king, right? They didn't want the king of kings. They wanted to be like the other nations around them. So, and God said, that's a bad idea because I'm your king. But nevertheless, you know, Samuel felt like he was being rejected because Samuel was the judge at the time. So, and God says, no, they're not rejecting you, Samuel. They're rejecting me. But the Lord put some warnings, right, about government. This is the first time when government was established in Israel. Other nations already had it in place. We can go far back into when God put a mark on Cain and he sent Cain into the wilderness. Actually, study shows Cain began to establish political systems. So anyway, that could be another study. So his son walked not in his way and turned aside to filthy lucre. Let me behold. There he goes. The things displeased Samuel, and they said, give us a king to judge us. Samuel prayed to the Lord, and the Lord said unto Samuel, hearken unto the voice of the people, man, in all that they say unto thee. For they are not rejecting you, because they are rejecting me, that I should not reign over them. So they're rejecting the Lord, not you, Samuel. According to all the works which they have done since the day that I brought them out of the land of Egypt unto this day, wherein they have forsaken me and serve other gods, so do they also unto thee. Now, listen to what he says next. The warning that God gave them. He said, this will be the manner of the king. So this is what government is going to do to you guys. Watch it. They're going to reign over you. They will take your sons. They will appoint them to himself. They're going to make them work for them. And not only that, they're going to send them in chariots to be horsemen. So they're going to send your sons to war, to battle, to Iraq, to fight these. And you know what I'm saying? Some will run before chariots. It will appoint him captains over thousands, captains over 50s. He will set them to ear his ground and to reap his harvest. They're going to make you work for you. They're going to make you slave to make you his instruments of war. There you go. Instruments of his chariots. They will take your daughters to be confectionaries and to be cooks, to be bakers. Look at that. And they will take your field and your vineyard. Ain't that something? They come into your farming place and they say, you can't have that.
They're
You
gonna
can't
take
have these
your
kind of
land.
seeds. Why you have this many chicken in your backyard, bro? Like this is exactly what God is talking about. Your olive yards and even the best of them and give them to servants. They take from us and give to the others, right? They take from Americans and give to the illegals. God told you they were gonna do that. And he will take the 10th of your seed and your vineyards and give to his officers and to his servants. Wait, you're supposed to be a public servant. Why are you a millionaire? How did you make so much money? Nancy Pelosi, I got questions. Anyway, let's move on.
Right?
He will take your main servants and your maiden servants and your godliness young men and your asses and put them to his work. He will take the 10th of your sheep and you should be his servants. What does that mean? The 10th. They're taxing you on the things that you own. After you pay taxes on the things that you already pay taxes for, and they tax you on top of it, and then they give you a little something every year from your own money called income tax, and you think you got money. You shall cry out in that day. And God said, you're going to cry out in that day because of your king, which you have chosen, and the Lord will not hear you in that day. Lord have mercy. Go read your Bible. All of it is happening. We are seeing the exact thing going on, friends. And I think Project 25 is one of those pushbacks. I think when you look at that in Project 25, there is Proverb, not 25, but Proverbs 28. Look at this in verse 4. They that forsake the law praise the wicked, such as keep the law content with them. So what's going on here? The people who are forsaking God, forsaking God's law, are the one who are praising the wicked. Have you noticed that? There's one party praising evildoers, making laws for criminals, justifying the wicked, LGBT, they call it freedom and all that, right? But at the same time, there's another group now who is pushing back against that. And these are the Christians that are on the move. And they even call them patriots today. So
The conservatives.
watch it. So there goes a major pushback. So I appreciate these ladies' insights. They're really good. They're really good.